So now we finally know who Dallas will play in the Western Conference Finals. Oklahoma City Thunder, who just got done with a pretty rough 7 game series with the Memphis Grizzlies, but took care of business in the 7th game, and they'll be taking on Dallas. And going into this one, it's kind of weird. You see it's Dirk Nowitzki in the promos that I watched for this upcoming series. It's Dirk Nowitzki versus Kevin Durant, and it's kind of weird because it's like that's two of my guys going at it. Because as of course Dirk's my favorite player forever since he's been in the league because he's the best part of the Dallas Mavericks. But with Kevin Durant, went to University of Texas. He actually left the year before I got here. If he'd stayed one more year, which of course he wasn't, I would have got to see him in person here in Austin. But I've loved to see how well he's done in the NBA. That he had a lot of doubters coming out, not necessarily based on his skill, but the fact that he wasn't very strong. He couldn't bench press a certain amount of pounds, whatever. But that's been put to rest, and he is now a legitimate superstar in the league. Already on the verge of going to the finals and winning one. But hopefully he doesn't get one this year because hopefully this is Dirk's year. Because I think between the two guys, I definitely want of course I want Dirk to get his because he's on my team. But it is one of those things. I think a lot of people around the league or just fans of the game who don't. I'm not talking about the people who are actually rivals, who are fans of rival teams in the Mavericks, but I think a lot of people would like to see Nowitzki get a ring at some point. He's been in the league forever, and he's been a scoring force forever. I think he deserves one, but he's got to earn it, and the Mavericks got to earn it, and they've got to get through a tough Oklahoma City Thunder team. And what's going to be fun to see in this series is both teams feature got Dirk Nowitzki and Kevin Durant, great shooters from outside, inside. They're just pure scorers. They do it a different way, but they both can shoot awesome. On the point guard side, you got Russell Westbrook versus Jason Kidd. One is a future Hall of Famer. The other one right now he's early in his years, but he's playing dang good. And Westbrook got a lot of criticism in this past series for taking too many shots. We'll see if he adjusts to that or if he keeps sticking with his game because whatever was working, they did win the series. I know he adjusted in Game 7, but we'll see what happens. But that's the difference, though. It's the difference is generations. The difference is age. You're seeing a very, very veteran squad in the Dallas Mavericks with Jason Terry, Dirk Nowitzki, Jason Kidd, and then you look at Harden, Durant, and Westbrook, the up and coming team, a team that whatever they do this year, if they keep that nucleus together, is going to be a force to be reckoned with for could be 6-7 years. Who knows, even longer than that, if they can keep them together. And it seems like all those guys seem to enjoy playing with each other. But I see the Mavericks. I think the Mavericks have a good chance to win this thing. You don't want to look too much into what happened in the regular season. But you look at it. Dallas went 2-1 against the Thunder, and the one game Dallas lost was the game that Dirk didn't play. He was hurt. He actually got hurt against Oklahoma City earlier in that year, and I got a chance. I remember watching that game when Dirk got hurt, and that was one of the games where it kind of hit me that this could be a special Mavericks team. Now after this game they ended up not looking that well until Nowitzki got back, but I remember that Dirk went down. And at least for that game, the rest of the team really stepped up and won that ball game, and they won it pretty handily. And I looked at that and I said, you know what? We don't have our best guy on the floor, but if they can play like this could be a special year, and it has been. Now they didn't keep playing like that. I mean, I remember we had a pretty bad losing stretch there until Dirk got back, and we still had to wait a couple more games until he got his feet back under him. So it gives me a lot of confidence to know that they have not beaten the Dallas Mavericks with Dirk on the floor. That being said, Perkins wasn't on the team then. And at the time, Green was on the team. These are two, I wouldn't say completely different squads, but I don't think that too much stock can be put into what happened in the regular season because I think they've all adjusted their game and new personnel and whatnot. And, Caron Butler's not going to be on the floor. Well, I say that now. Butler may be on the floor, what I've heard. I'm torn on this because, of course, you want Caron's one of the best slashers in the game, or at least one of the best that Dallas has had. But you don't want a Jameer Nelson thing going right when Orlando made it to the finals and Nelson was able to get back in there, and the chemistry wasn't there. If Caron Butler can get in there and be as effective as we know he can be, and not mess with what Dallas has found for themselves here in the playoffs, heck, that's just another bullet in the gun. But if it's going to be one of those things where he's going to have to get his basketball legs back before he can be at 100%, I'm going to be torn on whether I want him on the floor. And I hate to say that because Butler's one of the main guys on the team, but we'll see. And that may not even be an issue. But we'll see. That's something to look forward to. It's seven. This is a series. It's almost every time you go into a kind of series where it's an evenly matched opponents, you always say 6 or 7 games. But I think we saw in the last series, if you don't close out games, the Lakers could have won 2 games in the last series, games 1 and game 3. Dallas was able to pull those out. Can Dallas do that again against Oklahoma City? I believe they can pull out games they should lose. At the same time, the Thunder can do the same thing with Dallas. I do think this is going to be a really good series. I think Dallas is going to win this thing, mainly because I'm a Mavericks fan, but also the fact that I think that this Mavericks team is playing with there's something to prove. And even though only 2 of the guys on the team, Jason Terry and Dirk Nowitzki, are the only guys from the '06 team, from what you hear from guys like Jason Kidd, who has things to prove himself, and Tyson Chandler, they've taken that burden on. Especially Chandler, who's talked about it more, who said that he feels the pressure from the city. He feels the pressure from the organization that they feel. Not that they put anything on him or on the team, but they put it on themselves in '06. And I know that Dirk has talked about how if he never got another shot at the finals and Miami was the only chance he had back in '06, it would be hard for him to sleep at night. So I like that motivation. I think that, the upcoming years will be for the Thunder. This year, hopefully, but I do believe it's for the Mavs. At least a chance to get there. So picking Dallas, hopefully at 6 or 7, it doesn't really matter. But I know that it's not going to be easy. So go Mavs. Kevin, you're my boy. But for the next up to 7 games within the Mavericks, I can't read for you at all. So go Mavs. We'll see you guys Tuesday night. And hopefully Dallas will have gotten game 1. We'll see you guys later. Go Mavs.